Pittsburgh Steelers fans, what's going on? This is Jeff Hartman, editor of BehindTheSteelCurtain.com, here with you as always. After the game, the Pittsburgh Steelers are victorious. It's in the wee hours of the morning here on the East Coast, 23-20. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals, a huge AFC North win. But let's be honest, no one's talking. You have every right to be excited about the victory. The team moves to 10-2, but what everyone is talking about tonight, the injury to Ryan Shazier. So what the injury update is as of right now, and I'm recording this at 12:35 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday morning. As of right now, Mike Taylor's organization have not released anything of significance regarding Ryan Shazier's injury. We know that University of Cincinnati Hospital, that he is at a trauma center, that they've done probably every single test that they could. We're hearing little bits and pieces of information now coming in. Like Vince Williams after the game said that Ryan Shazier returned a text message from him. Like Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said that his source stated that it could be a lot worse. It's not as they thought. Again, I am not going to speculate. I'm just telling you what is being thrown out there. I'm going to wait until the Pittsburgh Steelers release an official statement, whether that comes in the report at Tomlin's Tuesday news conference, or whether it comes in some form. Of, I guarantee you on Tuesday, today is Monday, on Tuesday at some point you will get an update on Ryan Shazier's status. It might be that he's still in Cincinnati. Well, he's still going to be in Cincinnati. It could be that he is not left, that there's still further tests to be done. But they will probably, I would almost guarantee you, they will release something. And as a lot of people are saying here on the Facebook feed, because we're on YouTube, but we're also on Facebook Live right now, simulcast, a lot of people praying for Ryan Shazier. And even if you're not a person that believes in that type of stuff, positive vibe sent out to Ryan Shazier, because I think everyone that watches about the Steelers, that cares about human life, you were impacted by that. I know that when I put my son to bed, who fell asleep watching the game with me, you hugged him a little bit tighter, because you just don't know. I mean, it's a scary thing. Football's a physical game. I think everyone knows that. But you know what? If more news comes up, you'll get it from BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. I'll try to update you all as soon as I know something. But as of right now, we know that Ryan Shazier is in the hospital. Cincinnati, as the team goes back to Pittsburgh, really all that we know. Right. If we're talking about other injuries, the only other injury of note during the game, kind of shockingly compared, seeing how physical a game it was, it's Pittsburgh-Cincinnati. That's what you come to expect. Tyler Matakevich, who filled in for Shazier, left the game with a shoulder injury and did not return. L.J. Ford ended up finishing out the game, but that's going to be a position of concern heading into against the Baltimore Ravens football. So, Antonio Brown, he had a toe injury. Everyone was wondering, is Antonio Brown going to play? Is he going to be able to cut? Are they going to kind of stick him on one side of the field based on which foot is his right toe, making those in cuts on the left foot? Didn't look too bad. Antonio Brown continues to impress despite all the odds, and he looked okay. I think that the Steelers are hopeful. They ship Mitchell back next week. They need him back there in the back end, especially with Shazier out. He is the captain in the back end that can get people lined up. You saw the Steelers struggling with that. The inside linebacker, think about it. Now, Jeff Ryder on Facebook Live says, can Arthur Nose play inside? That is something that has been that he could possibly move to the inside position. But the one aspect, and this is kind of the double-edged sword of the Steelers drafting philosophy the past few years, is that they have based everything that they do off of speed and athleticism. And Ryan Shazier is a second-to-none athlete in that regard. And because of that, I think that the Steelers are going to really struggle to put someone in there that can actually almost do what he does. In my opinion, there's only one player on the Steelers defense that can do that, and it's a position that they have plenty of depth, and that is T.J. Watt. I think that T.J. Watt in this question as I speak on Facebook Live. I think that TJ Watt, it just depends. He's a rookie, and he's got to know so much. If Watt can move to the inside, if they could almost run a little bit more of their 4-3 look instead of their 3-4 look, they might be able to get away with it. They might be able to get away with that. I'm not sure if that's the direction the Steelers want to do. But if that does happen, I think that you can expect maybe James Harrison to be dressed on game days for once. Or Anthony Chiquillo would see more time on the outside. It's not an ideal situation, but, so other than that, the Steelers hope to get Vance McDonald back, Mike Mitchell, maybe James Harris back in the lineup for next week. Other than that, I don't think there was any reported injuries from this game. Roethlisberger got hit a few times, seems to be okay, as he orchestrated another great fourth quarter comeback as the Steelers beat the Bengals 23-20. If you have any questions on Facebook Live and you're watching now, go ahead and fire away. Kevin asked about Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden has not yet been returned to practice. I don't see that happening this week, maybe next week, maybe before the Patriots game. I'm not sure. Notice Cam Sutton came in for Cody Sensabaugh, and he didn't do tough. He's a rookie. He missed half of the season on an injured reserve. He comes back. His first game experience, he was lined up across from A.J. Green, a Pro Bowl player for the Cincinnati Bengals. That is not an easy task. He might be that guy on the outside that would help them keep Artie Burns on his side. If Sutton can play on the other side, and then you can keep William Gay and Mike Hilton there on the slot, that would be ideal. Dennis as to, I think he'll keep his job. I would certainly think so. The Steelers defense played better in the second half, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm not saying it's all his fault, or his doing, I should say, because the pass rush got to Andy Dalton. They started to mix up their looks a little bit. I think that the Steelers need to be creative with how they handle their defense moving forward. We'll see how it looks. Mike Tomlin will be addressing the team tomorrow, or the media tomorrow, so we'll probably know more about that for sure. Good question here. Doug asked, Juju Smith-Schuster, will he have a suspension? I don't think he'll be suspended, personally. And that's just from an NFL fan standpoint. I'm a Steelers fan, and you know that. Obviously, I'm wearing the shirt if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. I don't think he's going to be suspended. I think that he'll get a really hefty fine. Walk itself was dirty. It was that he hit it in the head. I just think that it's one of those plays that the taunting was almost as bad as the hit. And Juju Smith-Schuster after the game apologized to media about that. Didn't want to do that. Hey, you get caught up in it. And welcome to the Steelers-Bengals rivalry, Juju Smith-Schuster. I got to be honest, in a game where Hines Ward was on the sidelines and he's helped coach Juju Smith-Schuster closely since he became a Pittsburgh Steeler, he had to be smiling ear to ear with that hit. That was a huge, huge block. And it's funny when you think about this game and how it's kind of one of those situations where you think, this is a game that in the 1970s, even the 1980s or 1990s would be absolutely applauded for the physicality. And it's just a different game now. That hit by Juju Smith-Schuster would have made it on every highlight film from NFL films back in the day, but now it's a bad play. It's a bad play, period. So, yeah, it is what it is. I don't think Juju Smith-Schuster will be suspended, but you never know. If the NFL is really trying to crack down, if they're really trying to send a message, maybe they do. If he gets suspended, George Iloka from the Bengals better get suspended too, because that hit on Antonio Brown was just as egregious as Juju Smith-Schuster's hit on Vontaze Burfict. That's just reality. Larry asked, do I think ESPN was a little dramatic tonight about the hitting? You know what it looked like to me, personally, is that ESPN, the national media, they're not used to this. Ask any Steeler fan that's been cognizant in the last 2 or 3 years. Since 2015, this is kind of status quo for the Cincinnati Bengals and Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, you think about it. You have pass interference. I'm not talking about pass interference out the wazoo. You've got injured players. You've got key injuries. You got the Bengals collapsing. You've got the Bengals choking away another win. This is AFC North stuff. You go back further into 2000s. I mean, this was what the Ravens and Steelers used to be. It just seems like it's kind of morphed itself. This hatred between these teams has gone the other way, and so I think that ultimately the Steelers, this is what you get, and maybe they're just not used to it. And I know that the tandem of ESPN's talking heads there with John Gruden and I can't even remember the other guy's name off the top of my head. I mean, they want to talk game, yada yada yada, but it is what it is. This is just what you expect when you're a Steelers fan. I think everyone that was on the BehindTheSteelCurtain.com today knew if you can get out without any injuries, you're doing a good job. But still, there you go. Let's have any other questions. You can fire them away. Not going to be too long tonight. Obviously, it's late. They're early, I should say. But here we go. People that were still asking about Shazier, we really don't know much. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not a medical expert. I don't know anything. I don't have inside sources that are at the hospital or anything like that. So I don't want to say anything or make anyone watching this or listening to this think that I know something that everyone else doesn't. Anyone that follows the same people that I do know, you know what I know at this point. So if anything breaks, I'll do the best I can to get it on the website for y'all. But as of right now, we just don't know much. So let's hear. It's here. Yeah, people asking about Shazier, rightfully so. That was scary. I can honestly say that I can't remember a time that was just a scary thing to watch. You've seen it before, but you just I don't know. It's just different. Very, very strange. Matthew says the run defense is an issue. Yeah, it was at the beginning of the game, and then they started making changes. It just seems like the Steelers go into games thinking they don't have to be aggressive defensively to stop the run. They started to put more pressure on the quarterback. They started to bring out different packages. And don't for a second think that Shazier leaving the game in the first quarter, organic impact. This is the same thing, in my opinion, as the 2016 AFC Championship game when you game plan for Le'Veon Bell to have a huge workload against the Patriots, and then in the first quarter, he's done. He can't come back because he can't perform at his usual level. And so because of that, now what are you going to do? It takes time to adjust. And unfortunately, in the AFC Championship game, you're playing the great Belichick that are great, the very well-coached team. And now you have the Bengals on the other side. You're able to make the adjustments and able to win. Give the Steelers a week to prepare. And I think that ultimately what you'll see is a team that will have a better grasp on what they can do without Ryan Shazier. It's not going to be the same product. It's not going to be as good, but they're going to have a better grasp on that. So keep that in mind. Let's see here if we have Tyler says thoughts on play calling. I don't know. I thought the play calling in the first quarter was predictable. After that, I didn't think it was that bad. They didn't have a lot of possession in the first half. The defense was giving up long, time-consuming drives. Offenses get into a rhythm just like defenses do at times. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Brandon says, do I think the team went to the hospital? Probably not. Based on the fact that it's a Monday night game, get back to Pittsburgh. They're going to have to report tomorrow for practice. They still have a job to do. As insensitive as that sounds, they still have a job to do. And I get Shazier what he would want them to do. He would say, go back to the facility and get ready to beat the Ravens. So keep that in mind, too. Gabriel asked, do I think they should run more no huddle? Absolutely. But when the time is fitting, I think that the no huddle can be a catch-22 because if you're not successful with it, you're going to give the ball back to the other team really quick. And so the Steelers need to really. I liked the 2003. Think back to that year. That was Bell's rookie season. They started 0-4 that year. That was when they went to England and lost to the hapless Minnesota Vikings. But they clawed their way back to 500 and almost made the playoffs. I just think that, for me, personally, they used the muddle huddle. If you're not sure what the muddle huddle is when they would get into like this pseudo huddle, but they would not let the defense up a chance to make sure they were all on the same page. It wasn't as up-tempo as most people think of when the no huddle. I would like to see more of that. Juju Smith-Schuster being back in this game today was huge. Huge in the running game. He made several key catches. But you know what? A guy that's been bashed a lot much longer here tonight is Martavis Bryant. Martavis Bryant was ridiculed in the first quarter. He went right through his hands. Would have been a tough catch anyways, but you know what? This guy's found a niche in the kick return game, had an explosive play that got called back by a very iffy Wilcox, but more so than that, he's making some tough catches. He made that key catch on that final game-winning drive to give the team a first down to really set them up in field goal range, and they didn't have to really go too far out of their way. They threw the pass to Juju Smith-Schuster. They ran the ball a couple times. They were absolutely able to just. Chris Boswell is comfortable. So kudos to Martavis Bryant. He's finding his way throughout this offense, and that's huge because if he's doing his job on the other side and Antonio Brown's doing his, and then you throw in Juju Smith-Schuster, you've got a heck of a trio. And then when you incorporate a guy like Jesse James, who literally seemed like was forgotten by the Cincinnati Bengals defense on that last drive, he has a big catch for a first down and then some. That is how this offense can be explosive. That is how this Pittsburgh Steelers team, this offense, more importantly, is unbeatable if they are working it correctly together, all in sync. And it's mind-numbingly frustrating them at half. And then they finally start playing the way they're capable. Hopefully, when they play games like next Sunday night against the Ravens, hopefully when they play the Patriots the following week, they don't come out slow and lethargic. I don't think it's going to happen. This is a huge win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are 10-2. They're 10-2, top of the AFC. The Baltimore Ravens come to town. There's a lot on the line in this game, folks. The Pittsburgh Steelers can clinch the AFC North with a win over the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. On the line. They can keep pace with the New England Patriots, who will be playing on Monday night week, and then they will have to travel to Pittsburgh on a short week before they play that 4:25 game. There's a lot coming up in these next 2 weeks. And I can understand if a lot of people are a little hesitant and concerned right now. I totally get that as well. So that being said, make sure you check Pittsburgh Steelers newsinformation.com. Tomorrow we're going to have probably at least 9-10 articles posted, all for this podcast, our Steelers Final Score podcast, which is probably just wrapping up on Blog Talk Radio right now. Everything you can think of, that'll be there. BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. As always, I'm Jeff Hartman, editor. Thanks for joining to Facebook Live, iTunes, whatever. Enjoyed the game. Prayers up for Ryan Shazier. Hopefully he will see you next time. Bye.